Welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you from the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California. Hey everyone, this is Liza. And we had a busy day in the garage today.
Yeah, well, sunny, no joke. We've had some pretty gosh darn nice weather after all the rain we had. It was beautiful today.
This is that time of year we get to brag to everyone about what weather is like in Santa Cruz. And I'll get to what we did today because Emma could not get there soon enough, I'll tell you. But joining me in the studio.
Oh, was that a chicken? Did somebody bring a chicken into the studio? Where did that come from?
Well, no chicken here. I got Stumpy John by my side.
Heidi-ho, nerds. What's going on?
And sitting across from me by the open window, it's Naked Jim.
A.K.A. Chicharrones. I got a bag of chicharrones tonight.
Be careful. That's how you get new nicknames. And squawking like a chicken, coming in via Zoom, that would be Miss Emma.
Oh, hello, darlings. Also known as Smoky Joe. How are you, darling?
Excelente. And then, of course, always looking handsome, it's the Bageler.
A.K.A. Bagel Motor Service, LLC.
What?
Oh.
Indeed. I've set up my own little LLC here for my new job.
Is that scooter fencing?
No.
Breaking and fencing.
It is restoring fine vintage automobiles.
Oh, bitchin', congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's there's a local shop in town called Sage Collector Car Services. And met the guy through a random coincidence, and
Was it misconnections on Craigslist?
No, it was misconnections on Facebook.
Okay.
No, he met him on Grindr.
No.
Grinder.
Christian Mingle?
Grind him.
No, we actually met.
Farmers only.
Christian Grind.
This is actually a scooter story. Because back in November, the local scooter club, we had a ride when it had a particularly nice day in November. And at one point, we were stopped at a light, and we saw a truck pulling a trailer with an old car on it. And it was a Volkswagen Type 3 notchback, an early one, which I recognized. And I was very excited and waving to the guy. And he noticed the scooters and was like pointing at us and giving us the thumbs up. And it turns out I saw the car on Facebook, posted there a few days later and commented on it. And then later he had another car for sale that I wanted to check out. And I went over and met him and got to talking. And turns out that he had just started up his own shop and was looking for somebody to help do some work. So I've taken a job with him part-time and loving it so far.
Good for you.
Right on.
Great.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get a bit in the garage today. Today was another one of those days. No downtime. Somebody showed up as soon as I was opening the doors, putting out the chairs.
It's a bit of a different vibe, I got to say, the last 2-3 weekends.
We had
all those students.
Much younger.
Yeah.
Much younger.
4 tire changes happening.
Oh, this is becoming the
which
tire
is the
change
one thing I
central.
hate to do the most.
But to your credit, the Rabaconda is getting used and abused, but it's getting used.
Actually, I wanted to give a shout out. Yeah, the Rabaconda, which is a tool that I think Emma has disdain for because she can still do it faster with 2 spoons and a fork. But it works. It works for these people who've never done a tire change before.
Yeah.
It works. Lube is your friend.
The lube seems...
I'm going to state my case. The Rabaconda does have its limitations. But I mean, for what it is, it's great. My promise to you, Liza, when I finally upgrade, which I'm probably going to do this year, I'm going to give you my hydraulic tire machine. And that's a game changer. You need to find somewhere for it. You need to find somewhere to bolt it down.
The kitchen. I already thought about this. The kitchen has plenty of room.
I don't have anywhere for it.
Right in the middle of the studio.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, yeah, it could be a coffee table.
Wait a minute,
Just put it
you
right
got
here.
that from me.
I helped move that thing. Me and McCarthy
No, that was
moved
me.
that. Oh, it was you.
That was me.
Me and Stumpy moved that thing.
I am going to give, right out of the box, I'm going to give a Motorcycles and Misfits top
Here we go.
tip. If you are going to fit a tire to a motorcycle, if you are going to fit a tire to a scooter, if you are going to fit a tire to an electric vehicle like a Saron, it's exactly the same as Saturday night. Lube, lube, lube. You cannot put enough lube on.
Did she say it's
You
like a
really
Saturday
can't.
night?
That's exactly what she said.
Diddy.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
That's
Really.
Follow Diddy.
If you try and fit a tire dry, it's a road to ruin.
You don't want to have your rubber go dry.
Is this why Liza has a full wall of baby oil?
it's Crisco.
But you
Emma,
don't wanna
I'm gonna
use
I'm gonna
mistake.
double down, and I'm gonna start at the top with my top tip.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, we're in a
We're
hard
tipping?
and
Whoa.
heavy.
Is it a top tipper?
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
We had a nice kid who came by. He had installed a new clutch last time.
On the Harley.
No, it's a Shadow.
Shadow.
Oh,
But
okay.
and it was not operating correctly, and so he was of that mindset, and I've seen this all the time. When people want to try and do the least amount of work and try and work around stuff, so he's like, I think I'm going to try and take the side case off without taking the foot peg and the exhaust off this time. And I'm like, you're setting yourself up, dude. The amount of times I see that people are like, oh, but I don't want to take the tank off, and they're trying to get to stuff, they're trying to work around, it creates more work. So the top tip is just do that extra work and give yourself more space to work with. You know what I'm talking about, Emma. You see it all the time, right?
I do indeed. Wise words from Liza. If you're working around something and you're like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm getting these crazy angles going because this footrest is in the way, and the footrest is only held on by 2 bolts, have a talk with yourself. Come on now.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. No, true.
yeah, busy day. So Emma shows up, and I had like 3 people doing tire changing and a clutch kit. And another
Oh, I barely got off my bike.
another dude
Barely got off my
on a
bike.
zero who's holding another clutch basket and plates, and I'm like, huh?
Huh?
'Cause, it's from a different bike. I'm like,
Yeah. Okay.
and yeah, I'm like, all right, Emma, need you over here, take a look at this.
Well, it's funny how the vibe changed because it's still young people.
Yeah.
But 10 years ago, when it was young people, they were in the kiddie pool doing shit like that. Now there was a kid in pajamas and Crocs, and he looked like he was 18 years old.
On a zero.
Yeah.
I know. Some other. I wanted to catch up some big news. I sold a bike.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I sold the 690 Enduro, which I loved, but it's been replaced by the 450 Ibex. And I just wanted to give people just a message of hope and patience. It is so hard selling things. I had it listed on Facebook and Craigslist. And the amount of unwanted barter offers and low ballers, the amount of people offered me $1,500 for a good running bike that honestly, the frame and title is worth $1,500. It's just insulting, and it's so hard to just hang in there.
So,
Finally, a guy came through.
So 690, what year? 22,000 miles, you said? What year
Yeah,
is it?
2008.
Okay.
Everything's good. I fixed everything on it. But I got a guy who's like, yeah, I got a DRZ 400, but I want to be able to do a little more freeway, do some like adventure ride stuff with my buddies, maybe some overnights, put camping gear on. And he said, and you've got this all kitted out with everything I would put on it. And I'm like, great. He was happy. I was happy. And you know what? The best part about it?
It's gone.
No. Emma's his mechanic. So it's her problem now.
Is that right? Oh, my goodness.
That is true. So, Scott, I'm going to give a shout out to Scott, who bought the bike. Longtime customer of mine. He had a very, very interesting DRZ 400. It had an automatic clutch. And you're going to say, oh, it had a recluse. No, this was not a recluse. This was, I've never seen another one. This automatic clutch probably had 100 ball bearings in it.
Okay.
And it worked. Yeah, it was the wildest thing. And when the clutch span, centrifugal force forced the ball bearings out and grabbed the plates. It worked amazingly well, but it was very, very heavy, really heavy. And that bike had a nasty habit of breaking crankshaft keyways. The actual
That
primary
sounds
guide
bad.
for the clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the weakest point in the engine. So truthfully, you can strip them down, put a new keyway in it, and get you down the road.
And that was because of the
it-
extra mass in the clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it worked incredibly well, except for the weight. And to a lot of ways, it worked better than a Recluse. But my God, it was heavy. I think in a bigger bike, or a bike where rotational mass isn't quite such an issue, like a Harley perhaps, or an old British bike, it would have been a perfect setup. I wish I could remember the brand name of it, but I've never seen another one. But anyway, in the end, I told him, I said, look, you got to put the original clutch back in this thing. And he did. And that was that. And it hasn't been back since. But I know he's been looking for a bigger bike for a while. But I think the point you're making, Liza, it only takes one buyer. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
And you get that sale.
So what was the final transaction price?
Oh, $3,500. That was
great.
That was my sell it to a friend price.
that's
I was
awesome.
asking $39. And he's like, all right, so I'll just send you $35. And I went, oh, we haven't negotiated yet. Is that your offer? I was like, it's all right. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because he was happy to get it.
Well, after a new
And
battery
made
or
it easy.
new registration, you're at that number anyway. So,
But this is
good to have it
also a
gone.
guy who I'd been messaging with for a few weeks, who had come and gone. And I'm like, when some people just like stop commenting, I'm like, so are we doing this? And he's like, sorry, death in the family, dealing with stuff. Okay. I didn't know if that was an excuse. No. Then he showed up. So you just
seem like a cool dude.
hang in there.
Yeah.
You just got to swat at the flies.
That's all right. And,
And maintain the battery.
it was exactly the same when you show up at the shop. It's like, hey, I need the clutch doing in my DRZ 400. Yeah, no problem at all. And then I wouldn't see him for a month. And I'd say, oh, hey, Scott, you still want that clutch doing? Oh, yeah, I had stuff going on. He's a busy guy.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of share with everyone what I've been working on, because I don't talk about it a lot. But the Women Riders World Relay, for those who remember back in 2019, 2020, I was one of the admins who put that together, and we sent a baton around the world. And we started it back up this year, but it's in the form of a phone app, which is a little bit different. We've created a digital baton that's being passed by meeting people and exchanging it through your phone. And this started January 1st, the relay started. As of right now, we have 42 countries who've participated, and we have nearing about 5,000 baton passes
Wow.
That's great.
in less than 3 weeks.
That's awesome. Well done.
Yeah. And in fact, I was just on a Zoom call with the Argentinian ladies.
I heard you hablamos de Espanol there.
who have ridden down all the way to Ushuaia, which is down at the bottom of South America. They've been riding since January 1st.
That's rad.
And passing the baton as they go. And it's so cool because you can actually see on our app the progress.
Well, I like it when you pass a baton, it shoots a beam of light into space.
Yeah.
There's a good feature of the app.
Cool. You can see them riding down all the baton passes.
Oh, you're not kidding. It does shoot a beam of light into space.
It does shoot a beam of light.
See?
So you can, yeah. So just so you know, anyone is welcome to get the WRWR app. And there's a lot of features on here. And you can see these baton passes happening around the world. But we also have challenges on there. Are you downloading it down now, Bagel?
Not yet.
Yeah, you should.
So,
We have challenges that anyone can participate in. What, Emma?
So that was my question, Liza. Can boys download this as well as girls?
Yeah, anyone can participate in the app. And there's, like I said, there's challenges that we put that you just submit a video or photo proof of.
Do you have to wrestle a wild animal? What are the challenges?
Does Haley count as a wild animal?
She's otherworldly. I will say
should make that one.
Haley is otherworldly.
If you can find Haley and tackle her, you get 1,000 points.
Rather try to wrestle a pig at the fair. My God.
No, there's
Haley's
a lot
quick.
of riding and wrenching kind of things. Participate in a slow race, submit a photo. Just stuff like that. Change your oil. And then we also have a garage where you can list all of your bikes and you can put in your maintenance reminders and the app will send you notifications.
Cool.
So it's a way to kind of keep track of everything you have.
So who's not to put out names, but this is like a competition in a sense. Who's got the most points?
Right now,
or what country or how
Australia is beating everyone.
Yeah.
And we put it out there, that whichever country has the most baton passes at the end of the year gets to host the finale party.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
So will that be like in December or January?
Yes, exactly. Australia's winning. Let's see. Argentina is third. U.S. is fourth. Second, I think, is New Zealand. They're killing it. Malaysia is tearing it up.
Really?
Brunei?
Yes.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I saw some pictures you were showing me, and people are having parties, and they got banners and all that kind of stuff. It looks like a hoot.
Yeah. The only thing that men can't participate in is the baton pass. It's the only thing. That just has to be shared amongst women, but men are welcome to get the app and follow along. And
we can join rides.
Yeah.
Well,
men are allowed on rides.
Where's our ride? We haven't done a ride.
You were with me on the
ripple.
Both
this year, this one.
I know.
We got. I don't know. Well,
no, we've always been welcoming of
you've always been
to participate.
I'm just saying we should do a ride.
Except for that one guy in Dubai. Did I tell you about that?
No.
We've always included men as companions.
Except the one guy.
Because we recognize that there are some women who ride on the back of their husband or partner's bike, or there's some women who prefer to ride with their husband or partner or friend, or even Jim.
Yes.
I took you on the rides with me because you're like my riding buddy.
I know. It was a lot of fun.
So we've always said
I felt included.
Men are allowed as companion, but there was one guy in Dubai who wanted to participate because it was his right to, and nobody knew him. And that was the thing where nope, you have to be invited by a woman to participate because there are some, I just want to say some cultures where men feel like they are entitled to participate and they don't like that they're not invited or welcomed. So then they need to insert themselves. Not saying that is all men or all countries.
So what happened?
He wasn't allowed. But it was a tense thing, just that his insistence that he should be allowed, and we just politely explained, you're welcome if you are a companion to somebody. That's all.
Well, I'll just say good luck to you flying through Dubai next time.
Have any of you tried any of that Dubai chocolate yet?
Okay, so they have it at the fancy chocolate place up on Mission. What's the deal with the Dubai chocolate?
Well, so apparently, I haven't had any either.
Okay, I'm going to score some.
But it's chocolate with a pistachio filling, and they have this
what?
thing that
Is this a chocolate that's really creamy because they use camel jizz?
Really?
Yeah,
really?
something like that.
Really?
Really?
No. It's not about the chocolate itself. It's about the filling. You see, they've got this.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Called it.
And they mix it. Pistachio. It's meant to be very good.
Oh, anything with
Haven't had any
pistachio, I'm in. I'm glad we brought this up.
Chocolate bar bagel?
I have not had it.
No, I'm told it is the cat's meow.
Well, what's the chocolate place up here on Mission that's world famous?
McCain? No,
Not
that's the other one.
That's one over there. Whatever, but on Mission, the world
Yeah.
famous one, they got that Dubai chocolate.
Well, and I
Kind of like that Thai stick.
I
You
have-
know, that
I
shit
have-
tied to a stick.
one other WRWR announcement I want to make, which is really
Yeah.
cool. So, as you know, some of us were at the AIM Expo last week. I hope you enjoyed the AIM interviews. Thanks to Wendy and Mike for helping us out with that.
They were awesome. Wendy's interview skills, I think, surpassed most of us, if not all of us.
Yeah, she's
great.
she's good at whatever she does. Let's face it.
True.
But I went by the Norton booth. It's always interesting when you see these motorcycle brands resurfacing.
Was not your typical Norton booth.
No, I mean, other than Norton Moto Marini, Emma, was that the only other brand that had been revived that was there? I mean, technically Indian has been revived.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you're like, Norton, what is this? And these bikes do not even pay an homage to the old Nortons of the
Oh
old day.
no.
They are
They don't even.
modern sport bikes, modern super bikes. More in line with the new
What
Ducatis.
answer?
What?
I have an answer to that.
I would
Yeah.
well
I
because
have an
with
answer.
Emma being the obvious Norton expert in the room, I would like to get Emma's take on that whole thing.
Well, I take a far more stoic approach to it. And if you look back in its heyday, Norton was always a racing brand. Always.
And you're talking mid 60s?
Why? Because, we're talking 50s and 60s. Triumph had the edge with the engine, but Norton always had the edge with the frame. It was a very, very good frame indeed, which is why they performed so well at the track. And, back in the early 50s, the Manx Nortons were just unbeatable, going right into the 60s. So you had that racing pedigree. So the bikes have always been sporty. So when you resurrect the name, you've got a choice. You can go in one of two directions. You can say, we are going to be true to nostalgia and build nostalgic bikes for people who remember the original Norton. Or we can be true to the original concept of Norton, which was build racing and sports motorcycles for the street. Now, I tend to favor the latter. There's been a lot of brouhaha lately about the new Jaguar. Have you seen it, the electric one?
No.
No.
It's a very, very modern looking car. And of course, everyone who drives a Jaguar, now bear in mind, I drive a Jaguar, hates it. I don't. I think it's absolutely fucking brilliant.
Oh,
And
I love riding in it. That's for sure.
Because it harkens back to the original concept of Jaguar, which is we are going to give you a very, very high performance car for the street. So it's paying homage to that, not necessarily a nostalgic look back to Jaguars. And so it is with Norton. And to a certain extent, so it is with Moto Marini. The Marini 3.5 was just a darling little bike. And if you want to talk about the motorcycling scene in Europe in the mid-1970s, no conversation would be complete without the 3.5 in it. It was that iconic little bike.
So hold on, I just want to go back, Emma. So, because I said that the new Nortons really didn't pay homage to the old ones, but you're saying it does in spirit,
Well,
and
they
that it's a
do.
performance
Right?
bike.
Like,
So, but
Concept.
my counter to that is Indian and Triumph. They pay homage to the old bikes in style. These Nortons don't at all. They're just performance bikes. And you brought up the Moto Marini, that they did bring back a 3.5, which is an homage to that 3.5, even though it is all modern
bike.
styling, but it was an homage to it. I'm just saying that these Nortons, styling wise, are not harkening back to the old days at all.
Well, what it makes me think of, and maybe juxtapose or see if there's similarities, is Triumph came out with a new Trident. And Emma, I know you have a vintage Trident in your garage right now. So is it the same thing that Norton did, or did Triumph do it different?
Oh, you see, Liza's using Triumph as an example, and Triumph have the money and the product range. They can say we can have one or two nostalgic bikes, like the T100, the T120.
Mm-hmm.
There's your nostalgic bikes. If you look at like a 765 Daytona, that is a cutting-edge sport bike, and it shares nothing, not even a styling cue to Triumphs of old. Not a thing. But it's sharing that sporting pedigree.
Right.
So and the Marini 3.5 is another example. There are very, very few styling cues that tie that back to the original Marini 3.5. Maybe a shape on the gas tank graphic. That's it. It's a very modern looking little bike, and I love it. I mean, I think it's great. It's got the most gorgeous paint job. So,
Yeah, well, the announcement that I was trying to make through all that was that meeting the people at Norton and talking with them we've aligned two bikes at the Isle of Man for Haley and I to ride during the lap that we're leading. So Norton are providing us super bikes to ride.
Well, and you look like you look pretty good on it. Yeah.
So that's a shout out to Norton. Thank you. They've now just made something that this is like a bucket list thing to do the lap of the Isle of Man next to Carolyn Sells, and now they just made it even better.
Yeah, with a Norton.
On a Norton.
Yeah. That is pretty cool.
I know. So that's what I wanted to share. But going back to what we did in the garage today, this was something interesting that brought up a conversation. And this is how the podcast came, conversations that happened in the garage. So we had the one kid who had installed a new Barnett clutch in his Honda Shadow, and it was way too stiff. As soon as he'd put it in gear, the bike would lurch. Like, you could not disengage the clutch. And Emma's like, oh, maybe he left a plate in there. And so I had him take everything apart, count all the plates, put it back together, and he was still doing it. Meanwhile, I had another guy who had a clutch kit in his hand, and he's like, well, even when I release the clutch, it doesn't pull away. It's not gripping at all. Now, the interesting thing, one clutch was too grippy. Mm-hmm. The other clutch, no grip. Emma had a solution for both of them, and it was the same.
Just trade one plate in between bikes?
No, but this is the thing that's great to have somebody like Emma in the garage, because we were following the manual, and we were looking at the schematics. How many clutch plates? What goes where? We're following the rules. And Emma came and said, throw that piece away. We're like, what? So Emma, you want to explain why you would delete the judder spring and it would fix both problems.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about what an anti-judder spring is. So, an anti-judder spring is really a means of taming a multi-plate clutch. What do I say when I mean taming it? In a high torque situation or a bike that's specifically designed for a beginner rider situation, the initial bite of the clutch, basically the start of the friction zone, can be a little bit fierce.
Oh, can I want to comment on this, may I? I've noticed this on my KTM 990. When it's not warm, whenever I start riding that cold, I have to be very careful, because as soon as I release the clutch, it goes, it's like, it's not a smooth transition. It's like leaps Pause. Leaps pause. Is this what you're referring to?
Exactly.
Okay.
Now,
Well, and
so
one other
clutch
thing,
manufacturers always looking for ways of making their products a little more user-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And many years ago, and I believe, I actually believe Honda own the patent for this, but I do stand to be corrected. It's either Honda or Vesra came up with this thing called the anti-judder spring. And what the anti-judder spring is a oh,
well,
it's not really a spring. It's
it looks like a washer,
Yeah.
like a wavy washer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
right, and it's got dimension to it. It's either convex or concave, depending on your point of view. And what it does is you have a clutch plate that is half the width. So basically, the outside diameter is the same as every other plate, but the inside diameter is larger, and in that larger inside diameter fits the judder spring. Very, very large diameter, and there's two washers. There's a flat one and then a cupped one. And it really tames the clutch. The problem is, yes, it tames the clutch, and it makes even the most fierce clutch very, very smooth in operation. However, unless you assemble it perfectly correctly, and at best instructions can be ambiguous, at worst they can be downright wrong, and the thickness of the plate that goes round it is exact, it has to be exact, your clutch is going to slip. Now, I always delete them. Whenever I do a clutch build on a bike in the shop, even on bikes that belong to Pacific Motorcycle Training, any of the training people, and I'm doing a clutch job on it, I will delete the anti-judder spring for the simple reason the entire clutch plate is dependent on one cupped washer. And if that cup washer gets a little bit baggy, you've lost all your spring tension.
Yeah,
and your clutch will slip like crazy.
I had an experience, and I don't know if it's similar, but I used to have that CRF 250 Rally Raid, right, which was a great bike.
Yes.
And we were up in the high Sierras on a ski slope, actually Bear Valley ski slope, and we're going up this ski slope, and it was super loose and gravelly. And by the time we got to the top, the clutch was smoked. I could smell it, everything else. And anyway, rode back to camp, changed it out with a more heavy duty clutch kit, but got rid of the spring. And I don't know if the judder spring is what caused that clutch failure, but it seems like it's a weak link kind of thing.
It is a weak link, and that's why I get rid of them. If I have the option to, I'll put a full-size clutch plate in situ. If there isn't one available, I'll just use the half-size clutch plate, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine. And that's what I did in Mr. Sonny Malad's Shadow 750, and he was absolutely thrilled. Now, he did something a little bit different. So he was following the instructions, but he wasn't following them exactly. And this is a commonality I found with a lot of younger people, both men and women, so it's not a sexist thing, who lack a little bit of patience. And he read in the instructions, the red plate goes at the back, and then another red plate goes at the front. And there are two red plates in the kit. One is the half-size red plate that encroaches the anti-judder spring. The second red plate is a full-size one. And he'd mix them up. So, in effect, the clutch did indeed have one too many plates in it. Not because of the included amount of plates, because he'd got them mixed up. He was trying to fit that anti-judder spring in it as if it was a complete plate. So by doing a delete on it and getting the plates in the correct order, I gave him an absolutely superb clutch.
Good.
Lucky him.
But generally, unless I've got a good reason for it, I want to make sure that people don't get this mixed up with a slipper clutch. An anti-judder clutch, an anti-judder spring, and a slipper clutch are two entirely different things. In a lot of ways, they do the same job. A slipper clutch won't help you with clutch engagement, but it'll smooth things out when you're banging down through the gears. And an anti-judder spring, to a certain extent, will help you the same way, but they work on very, very different principles. The best way I can put it, an anti-judder spring is a Band-Aid. A slipper clutch is a very, very sound, mechanically thought out process with an actual wedge that disengages and engages the clutch depending on the torque within the basket. So it's a very, very clever piece of tackle. The anti-judder spring, it's just, we're going to chuck this in. It's putting a Band-Aid on a problem, and they work. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are thousands of bikes out there which are happily being ridden around with their anti-judder springs in.
Yeah, I think my Honda
But if
450 has a judder spring, an anti-judder spring. Yeah.
Right. But you will find out when the chips are down, that is your weak link.
Yeah.
Because it's a house of cards. Because what do we know that happens when a clutch starts to slip? It produces heat. And what does heat do to metal? It changes the property of it. And if you've got something that's actually shaped in metal, so you've actually got like a convex spring, there's a very, very thin spring that's a large diameter. It's very, very prone to temperature fluctuations. So if you overheat your clutch, it's going to change the property of that spring, and it's actually going to change its effectiveness. And I think that's what you experience going up the hill.
Yeah, because we were
I
on the
wasn't
throttle
there.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but I would guarantee if you'd have done a delete on the anti-judder spring, I think you could probably have made it up the hill.
Yeah.
So is this something people want to go out and delete off their bikes, or just wait till it fails?
No, not unless you're experiencing clutch problems.
Right.
But if you have a bike that's having clutch problems, now let's talk a little bit about clutch problems, because there are different levels of clutch problems. If you're giving it the beans and the revs are going, whoa, and then, like the old automatic transmission in a like 1970s American car, you've got the beginning of clutch problems. So you might want to have a look at your clutch before it gets worse. And we're presuming it's adjusted correctly with a little bit of free play at the lever. Now, if you're experiencing that, it might be worth dismantling your clutch. And if you find that the plates in your clutch are in perfect condition, this is a mystery. Why is my clutch slipping? If you take out the anti-judder spring, if it has one, and put new regular clutch springs in it, they're either 4 or 5, depending on the clutch, sometimes 3, miraculously, your clutch will be fine. Now, level 2, when your clutch is slipping and you take the filler plug off your engine and smell it, and it smells like death, there's nothing you can do. And we all know that smell, because when you're a kid and you have a train set or an electric car set and you hold the vehicles and turn the power up full and you get that acid smell as things start burning, that's the smell. That's the smell of a burnt out clutch. And when they get that bad, you chuck them away. But what people don't realize, you got to flush the engine as well. How many times? Maybe 2, maybe 3. Because all of that clutch plate material is now in the oil. And the oil's job is to lubricate the engine. Now you've got friction material in your oil, and it's doing everything but. So you need to get that oil out, get some cheapo Filippo oil in it, get it up to temperature, get that oil out, get some more cheapo Filippo oil, get that up to temperature, get that out. Now put your decent oil back in and get yourself down the road. Get that clutch plate material oil out of the engine.
Do you not recommend using something like kerosene?
No, no, you don't need to. I mean, oils, you can buy oil for like $2 a quart. I wouldn't recommend running your bike on it, but for flushing it, it's perfect. All you got to do is just get it out, you know?
Right.
And you're going to say,
oh, so you can use cheap car oil for that?
Yeah, just
Okay.
for flushing.
Yeah.
Just to flush. That's it. You're not actually powering it. Now, another thing with clutches that people forget, you just bought your brand new Barnett clutch. You bought it off eBay. It came in the mail. It's in a beautiful box. You open it up. Oh, God, it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. You're not putting it in the bike yet.
Right.
What you're going to do is you're going to get a sandwich bag and you're going to fill the sandwich bag with oil. You're going to put the friction plates in it. No need to put the steel plates in it. You put the friction plates in it and you let them soak in that oil overnight. You can let it soak in the oil for a week if you want, but you don't want to put the dry plates straight in the bike.
You know
So
what
it won't break
I
it.
have, and you guys don't even know it's out there in the garage. I got an old cooking pot from like the Salvation Army that is the exact same size as clutch plates.
Perfect.
And it's perfect because you just pour as much oil as you need to cover them. And now it's in a nice metal pot that I stick on a shelf.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the idea is not to waste, and you know, you just use the correct amount of oil. But yes, you've got to soak your clutch plates before you put them in the bike. Now, of course, the exception to all of this rule, are bikes that have separate engine and clutches, engine oil and
Big
clutches.
twins, yeah.
What kind of bikes are these? Well, Harley Davidsons for one. Both Sportsters and Big Twins. Sportsters are interesting. They have 2 whole oil changes. You have the oil bag and engine, and then you have the transmission and clutch, which are shared. The Big Twins have 3. You have the engine oil, you have the transmission oil, and you have the primary oil. So if you burn out your clutch, you don't need to worry about the engine oil. You just change the primary oil. If you burn out your clutch on a Sportster, again, you don't need to worry about the oil in the tank. You just need to change the primary and transmission oil, and you'll get yourself down the road. Other examples are British bikes, traditional British bikes, like our traditional Nortons, BSAs. They have 3. Well, I suppose you could really argue it's 4. They have the oil bag, the engine, which is actually the same oil. But if you really want to do a proper job, you need to drain both. Then they have the primary. Then they have the gearbox.
I would like to lodge a formal complaint at this moment, if I may.
Yes.
Why is the oil tank called a oil bag? It is a tank.
It is indeed a tank. I don't know. I mean, oil bag
Can we
is a
submit for a change of this? Yeah, why do you think it's oil bag? We've always called that on choppers and Harleys, the oil bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Can we take a vote? We all agree we're now going to call them oil tanks? All in favor?
I like oil bag.
Aye?
I'm sticking with oil bag.
Oh, God
I'll
damn
abstain.
it.
Abstain.
We need a unanimous vote.
Sorry,
John,
Kat,
come on.
no.
I'm a bad guy.
God damn it.
We're abstaining.
Okay.
I have a question that may be silly, but while on clutches, more heavy duty clutch springs. I'm thinking dirt bikes. Is there an advantage or no? Why would you go to that?
Yeah, there is and there isn't. The advantage to heavy duty clutch springs is the plates are actually being forced together with more pressure.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is in a high drive situation, there's less chance of the clutch actually slipping. So that's good.
Right.
The disadvantage is inevitably your clutch pull's going to be heavier.
Yeah. Okay.
Because when you pull in the clutch, you're either operating a mechanical or hydraulic system that's separating the plates and reducing the free length of those springs. And the heavier the springs, the heavier the pull's going to be. It's less susceptible on a hydraulic clutch, But certainly on a cable clutch, if you put heavy duty springs in, boy, you'll feel it. And if you're full of arthritis like I am, it's like bloody hell. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean, there's good and bad with everything. I vividly remember years and years and years ago, EBC did a very heavy duty clutch kit for big Suzuki GS 1100s. And of course, back then, because I'd monkeyed around with mine was pumping out well over 130 horsepower. So I'm like, oh, I need one of these. And I put it in, I could barely move the bloody lever. It was amazing. And in the end, I did this mix. It had 6 clutch springs, and I did 3 very heavy duty ones and 3 of the original ones. And it seemed to be the magic bullet that gave me that extra grip that I wanted, but didn't make the lever so hard. So you can kind of mix and match.
I
You can
had
only
no
do that
idea. Yeah, that's fascinating.
But
Emma, I'd like to point out that since we started recording, the sun's gone down and you haven't turned on the lights in the room, so we can just see like your gray streak is glowing.
No, I do have a light on, but I've got. There you go. That's probably better.
Oh,
yeah. Hello.
Now we can see you. Because I wanted to ask you, I found it interesting that you had that just knowledge from experience of delete the judder spring. And I'm like, what other things have you learned that you're better off to delete from a bike that isn't in the manual, that isn't common knowledge?
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got to be careful what you share here, because a lot of it, you as an owner can do it. But if you really want to be, if you really want to follow it to its legal status, you are actually breaking the law.
Well, especially here in California.
Yeah.
Well,
right, exactly.
I mean, not always. It's very common on Harleys. As soon as you buy a new Harley, get rid of that exhaust and get a new exhaust.
Well, a lot of what we talk about is that whole system of emissions.
Yeah.
Yes. And I want to be clear. There's very little with emissions, external emissions, that can actually rob you of power. They can fuck you up in other ways, and we're going to talk about that. But just because you take external emissions off an engine doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get more power. So don't think about that. I don't want you to think along those lines. Oh, I took this off and now I've got 10% more power. It doesn't work like that. An engine may be designed in such a way to produce less power for a certain market, but that's going to be internal. A great example is Rufus, the RF900. RF900 in every market is 135 horsepower, except California, which is 127.
What?
Oh, yeah. And the California RF900 has got smaller carbs and different cams because it's a dirty engine. And in order to clean it up to pass carb, they had to put cams in it. They had to put smaller carbs in it. I've left mine stock. Mine's 127 horsepower, and that's still plenty of get up and go. Because I didn't want to go down the route of, I can put the bigger carbs on. Now I've got to put the cams in it. Now I've got to do this and do this and do this. So I've just left mine stock. If it was a case of 100 horsepower versus 135 horsepower, now you're talking a major difference. But you know what? For 8 horsepower, for this old mare, I don't care. But in terms of outside stuff, so let's talk a little bit about the outside stuff.
Yeah, what can you delete from your bike?
Charcoal canister.
Yeah, I was going to ask
They're
about
not
that.
so common. Yeah, not so common with fuel-injected bikes, although some still have them. What the charcoal canister does is your tank needs to vent. If we think about how a fuel tank works, as fuel tank comes out of it, air needs to be displaced in the top. Otherwise, the gas wouldn't come out. Now, fuel injection bikes, they go into what's called closed loop. And if it's closed loop, then venting to the tank is closed. So we're mainly talking about carbureted bikes here. If you take the charcoal canister off your bike, you're not necessarily going to give it more power. In fact, you're not going to give it any more power. But charcoal canisters can ruin your day. And I shall tell you why. If you overfill your tank, particularly on a hot day, and fuel goes down the vent line. Now, the vent line generally should only have air in it. Its only job is for air to pass into the tank so that when the fuel goes down, it's displaced by air.
Sounds like you're describing John.
Right. If
I have a charcoal canister.
gasoline gets in that, if gasoline gets in that line and it goes down to the charcoal canister and it soaks the charcoal with fuel, it blocks the hose. And guess what? Your tank can't vent. You're going to grind to a halt. I've done a lot of bikes like that.
Yeah,
and that's how you get home.
One of the kids who was here today with the Aprilia, and he's like, "Hey, come here. Do you hear that?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "My bike is hissing." I'm like, "Well, what do you think is hissing?" And he's, "I don't know. What would be hissing?" Like, well, your tires could hiss if they got a leak, but they don't seem to be going down. What else could hiss? He's like, gas tank? Like, open your fuel valve. And he opens it up and it goes, I'm like, yeah, something's going on with your bike right now, buddy. It's not venting properly. So I wonder if that's what his problem was.
Well, which bike was this?
The Aprilia.
Well, that thing runs like a rape tape. I don't think he's having a drivability problem, is he?
Don't know, other than it was hissing. But
no, I mean that's a fuel injected bike, and it was going into and out of closed loop. So I'm not that bothered about injected bikes. However, another emission thing, and again, there's value in deleting this just because it can ruin your day if you don't, is secondary air injection. You're going to say, well, the hell is secondary air injection? So secondary air injection is a 100% smog related.
Are we talking California or all bikes? Well, now all bikes are made for California, aren't they?
Yeah, most all bikes are made for California. A lot of the more traditional bikes, Bonnevilles, T100s, and very early T120s, had air injection on them. And what it does is it takes air from the airbox, and there's a little port above the exhaust. Exhaust in the cylinder head.
Okay.
And it basically, the way it works is you have, via a one-way valve, you have air going into the exhaust to really get a lot of the emissions out of it.
Okay.
Dilute it.
The exhaust can move backwards into the airbox, and you get a second burn. It's kind of like a really sort of nepotistic system. It's great. But if you change the exhaust on your bike and you change the back pressure, now when you shut off the bike, because it's pumping air into the exhaust and there's not enough back pressure for it to work properly, you get bang, 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 bang. And it's not nice. It's not a nice noise. It sounds like explosions. So you have to delete it. So it's one of those things, you're not going to get more power by deleting air injection, but it's going to ruin your day if you do other upgrades to your bike.
Now, this is carbureted bikes or fuel injection?
notorious for that. No, you can have fuel-injected bikes with air injection if they're dirty. A lot of cruisers have air injection on them, just to help, just to help them out, make them a little cleaner for emissions. And you put those exhausts on, and it's bang, 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 bang when you shut down. So, again, it's a secondary thing that will ruin your day if you do other things to your bike.
Huh.
Any
other
I know you
things, and these might be model specific that you've learned. Oh, just take that off, and it'll make it better.
Well, what about like tail tidies in general?
Well, that doesn't make it better.
Different.
That's aesthetics.
More accessory, but does it make it better?
Well, John had one earlier. He's like, yeah, take all the reflectors off. I don't agree with that. But Emma, are there any things you've learned that, and you get different brands with a new bike, and they'll try and come up with some new fancy type of suspension or a linkage or a thing, and maybe it doesn't work as great as they expected, and it causes more problems.
Yeah, and I mean, a good example of that was when Suzuki first brought out the TL1000. I mean, this is getting on, Jesus Christ, it's 28 years ago now. Jesus.
God, you're old.
And yeah, right. And real estate was very, very short on that bike. I mean, really short. And so they came up with this rotary damping rear shock. Now, that in itself is not a new idea, but it was very, very new on a bike. And the way it worked is we're very used to telescopic shock absorbers. And you'll have a spring, and then contained within a spring is a telescope with oil in it, and squish, 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 up and down it goes, and it damps. The Suzuki was different. It separated the spring, it had a conventional spring that ran up one side of the back of the backbone of the frame, and then it had like a box with a lever on it, and the damping was done within that. I kind of understand why they did it, but it was very, very susceptible to failure, not least because it was very close to the exhaust system of the bike. And once you really started putting the power on and working the back end of the bike's capabilities could easily overtake the limitations of that rear damper. So it was one of those ideas that on paper it was great. The actual reality of it, not so great.
I thought of one, Emma, and I can't believe none of you thought of this. In fact, I think it's probably the number one most commonly known thing. The doohickey.
Go on. Oh God.
Yeah.
KLR doohickeys. Well, what's a doohickey? So a doohickey is actually is a chain adjuster, and it's very, very badly designed, and there's a little spring, and the spring gets weak, and you go to adjust your chain on your doohickey, and I'm not talking about the final drive chain. I'm talking about a chain within the engine, and the spring falls off and falls inside the engine and destroys things. So
it's
that's
the cam
very
yeah.
No.
Oh,
it's not the cam chain.
No, not the cam chain. No, the balance chain.
Oh,
because it's a big single cylinder bike. Okay, and you've got a lot of reciprocating mass, and a lot of rotational mass as you do. So you have a balancer in it. The balancer's chain driven on a KLR. So it's right under the alternator. So your cam chain is, well, we all know where the cam chain is. It's on the back of the cylinder. Your doohickey is under the alternator. And there's a little bolt. And if you want to do it properly, you've got to take the alternator casing off. Oh, it's a big palaver. And they never really cured it. The later ones are better than the early ones, but they're all shit. And I mean, truthfully, it's a real estate problem. A lot of manufacturers have come up with, this is the perfect doohickey. There is no such thing as a perfect doohickey. Some are better than others. But really, if I get a KLR 650 in with a noisy balance chain in it, that alternator casing's coming off, and I'm going to do it manually under a controlled environment because I don't trust that damn spring. If that spring jumps and goes inside the engine and you can't fish it out with a magnet, you're toast.
So
And that's what happens.
are you saying everybody that has a KLR then should just go ahead and change it? Get the Eagle mic kit?
But if you got a noisy engine, yeah.
Okay. You don't do it ahead of time?
You know, you'll know when that chain starts getting noisy because it'll clack, clack, clack. Sounds like I do when I run downstairs in my stilettos. Get clack, 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 clack.
Does it sound
very distinctive?
Does it sound like a cam chain when it gets loose and starts slapping? Is it a similar?
Yeah, it's a slightly higher pitch though.
Different spot.
It's a very distinctive noise. Yeah, and I mean you can do preventative maintenance. I mean, you know, we're getting to the stage now with early KLRs. You know, there's so many early KLRs there. They've either got a ton of miles on them and they've already had the doohickey replaced, or, you know, they're just soldiering on. And you're buying a KLR that probably needs a ton of other engine work doing on it, so it's worth investigating. If you've got a Gen 2, it's probably got a marginally better doohickey in it, so, you know, run with it. I'm a huge advocate. I mean, if the engine's not noisy and the oil comes out clean, don't bother. Put some fresh oil in it, get yourself down the road.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect adage. But I'm glad you brought that up, Liza, because, you know, that's an example of a big manufacturer.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's none bigger than Kawasaki, you know, just compromising enough that it causes a problem,
Right.
you know?
Well,
and there are a lot of KLR 650 owners out there who've had that little spring go where it shouldn't and smash things up in their engine. And it turns you into a very, very unhappy camper very, very quickly. And, you know, for a low volume manufacturer, say like Aprilia, you can say, well, it's almost understandable. But for a giant manufacturer like Kawasaki, you're like, well, hang on, this is a little bit out of character.
all right. Well, I thank you, Emma, for your expertise because, you got to go, Jim? All right. You leaving now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I got to bounce. But,
all right.
Thank
See
you.
ya. Your expertise, you know, from being around, your experience and learning is great, but you're not always right. And so I wanted to bring something up that and see what everyone else thinks, Bagel and John, that we were arguing about out in the garage today. And that would be Guardian bells. So I had some Guardian bells that I was gifting out to some of the kids in the garage today.
Yes.
And we were explaining, and they'd never heard of this. They're like, what is this? Bagel, hold on, Bagel, why are you shaking your head?
I don't believe in that kind of crap. So that's just not my thing. I don't want something else on my bike making noise that isn't helping anything. So yeah, no, not for me. Thank you.
John, what is your understanding of how a Guardian bell works?
Well, it's supposed to ring and scare away any of the gremlins that are trying to attach itself to your bike.
And Emma, how do you think Guardian bell works?
So, as I was told, your bike comes with gremlins who are trying to attack your bike and make it break down. And the gremlins are attracted to the noise the bell makes. So they go down to the bell and go up inside the bell, but they can't hang on forever. And so they drop out of the bell onto the road below, which is why the bell should be at the lowest point of your bike. So when they go in and they fall out of the bottom, they can't fall all over the bike. They fall straight onto the road and you're rid of the gremlins. It's very, very hokey. It's very, very superstitious. But
Yet
there's a
so
lot
many of
people
us
who
do
have
it.
Well, you can't buy your own either.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and,
Well, that's the other thing
there's
too.
other things.
So, and
You
yeah, in
can't buy
fact,
your own bell, and you can't fit your own bell.
So-
you have to have a friend buy it for you, and you have to have a friend fit it for you.
the guy who got my 690 was happy to see it had a bell on it. It meant something to him.
I mean,
So, Emma, I heard the way it works is that the ringing of the bell scares
That's
the
what
road trolls away, and they run away. So, I decided to do a little bit of research about the
Yes.
true rules of the gremlin bells, troll bells, guardian bells.
yeah.
According to this Harley Davidson dealership,
Yes.
they shared the story of the gremlin bells. And it says that, yeah, it's good luck. But they say, much like Emma said, that the gremlins are attracted to it and they cling to the bell until that little knocker making that noise just kind of drives them crazy and they drop out, which is why it has to be at the lowest point of the bike. So they drop out
There you go.
onto the road. And it says, returning to the roadway to find another unsuspecting rider without a bell to harass instead. That's kind of rude. So everyone needs to have their bell.
Basically, fuck you.
Yeah. So according to them, the rules are, it needs to be activated by a gesture of goodwill, which is why you need to give it to another rider. You can't just buy one. It should be attached to the lowest part of the frame because gremlins lurk on the roadway and grab onto bikes as they pass by, but the low-hanging bell should be the first thing they contact so that they're immediately captured by it.
Right.
You should use wire, but zip tie is actually the preferred method. When a bike with a bell on it is sold, it should be removed.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know
yeah.
this one.
Yes.
The gremlin bell is a gesture of kindness to a rider from someone who cares about them, so it should be kept by the intended recipient and can be transferred to another bike. If someone sells a bike with a bell and they want the new rider to have it, they should still remove it and give it to them face to face. A bell that is not given with the intentional good will lose its spirit fighting mojo. And if someone steals a gremlin bell, the gremlins go with it, and the bell will no longer ward them off. The key to the bell's power is goodwill. If it is stolen, it loses its effect, and karma will take care of the rest. And one guardian bell is all you need.
I think we should buy one bell for every one of Bagel's bikes.
They're
Yeah,
not-
and yeah, no, and that, I mean, that's kind of as it was told to me. Slightly
Yeah.
different. I was told that as long as you pass on a bike with a bell on it, it's done with a spirit of goodwill. Like, oh, Scott says there's a guardian bell on the 690. Yes, says Liza, it's
Yeah.
yours with my blessing. That's all you need to do.
That's what I felt like. Yes, I am gifting this bell with the bike, and I wish you luck. with
Yeah.
it. Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about some more kind of myths that people may not understand, and this is related to shops and mechanics. Because once again, we have Emma here to clear this up. So, Emma,
Yes.
I feel that the shop rates should be adjustable based upon the value of your bike. I don't think it's fair that a bike that's worth $1,000, a couple $1,000, is going to be charged for the labor for the same thing as a $30,000 bike. That's not really fair.
Question, Liza. So should the quality of the work also depend on the value of the bike?
So,
Yes, thank you, Bagel.
Yes.
So basically, what you're saying is you want the mechanic to say you ride a piece of shit before he or she lays a hand on it,
well,
and you don't have to pay as much.
I'm just saying, I think that you should be able to haggle with a mechanic over shop rates. Do you agree or disagree?
That's not That's not going to work well.
You'd have to have some pretty strong
The
persuasion there, Liza.
the argument I use at the shop is the shop rate at Motortown is exactly the same, whether I'm working on a Vincent Black Shadow, a Honda CB 750 Sandcast, or a moped. It's exactly the same rate because it's the same hour. If I am working on your Mobilette moped, I am not working on the 750 Sandcast or the Vincent Black Shadow. And there's only so many hours in the day. So the shop rate stays the same and it keeps me straight because then there's no prioritizing people. There's no prioritizing. Oh, you've got a cool bike? Well, guess what? You go to the front of the line. That's not fair. Everyone gets treated the same. Every bike gets repaired in the order in which it gets brought in. And, everything's hunky-dory.
And you're also not just earning that rate based on the work that you're doing. You're also earning that based on your experience and your knowledge and your understanding,
Right.
and all the little tips and tricks that help you do things just the right way, so that will be reliable and will be done well.
Well,
Right,
that brings up the
because-
next thing.
Yes.
It's not really fair, is it, if you charge somebody for 3 hours of labor when it only takes you an hour?
Well, that harkens back not to independent shops, but that's really a dealer thing. And before you say, so the dealer's trying to rip me off.
Shop rate.
This is actually to benefit the consumer. And many, many years ago, and the Brits actually started this practice called flat rate. And what flat rate is the actual manufacturer of the bike using skilled technicians, a broad cross-section. They don't just come up with this time. Figure out the exact time to perform a task on that bike. Now, bear in mind, this is an average, because in order to get this number, they'll probably get 100 mechanics to perform the task. So let's say that Triumph have decided that to cut the valves in a 1969 Bonneville is a 4-hour job. That's what a Triumph dealer is going to charge you, or would have charged you back in the 60s. 4 hours labor. And you could go to a Triumph dealer in England, you could go to a Triumph dealer in California, you could go to a Triumph dealer in Brisbane, you could go to a Triumph dealer in Warsaw, and you're going to get charged 4 hours. Now, the hourly rate may change, and dealers have the leeway to set their hourly rate depending on the area. Obviously, Kentucky is considerably cheaper to live than California.
Yeah.
So a lot of Kentucky bike shops charge less hourly rate than California. But by law, you have to show the hourly rate at the shop. Now, back to what you said,
Yeah.
Liza. Now you're talking about the skill of the mechanic. It's a two-way street. If you drop a bike in and the flat rate for that job is 3 hours and the mechanic does it in 1, you're still going to play the flat rate for that time because you just got yourself a very skilled mechanic who's been doing it for a long, long time. Conversely, if you get a rookie and he takes 5 or 6 hours to do it, still only going to get charged 3 because that's flat rate. Now, I've worked flat rate all my life. All my working life, I've never worked hourly. I've always worked flat rate. And there's been times when I've made absolute bank because I can perform a task quicker than the manufacturer says. We used an example of a Honda CBR 300. There was a recall on those bikes. The cranks went bad. And Honda was paying 5 hours. Well, I could do it in an hour and 3/4 because I did so many of them. I think I did 30 of them. And the other mechanic at Monterey Peninsula had no interest in doing them whatsoever. So I was cranking these things out, and Honda were paying me 5 hours per bike. And I was doing like 4 a day. So I was basically, I was making 20 hours flat rate time a day. You know, I was doing very, very well with it. Conversely, you know, the R1, when it had a transmission problem, they were paying, no, actually, I'm not going to use that because they were quite generous with the R1. They were paying, I think, 11.7 flat rate.
I remember that period because every
Kawasaki-
time I came to visit you, there was another R1 on your bench.
Yeah, I was doing them all. Kawasaki had a similar problem, but they had a cassette transmission. You didn't have to pull the transmission. You didn't have to separate the case halves. You could pull it out. You took the transmission sprocket off. You took the clutch off and pulled the transmission out through the side. But they were only paying 3 hours. And as try as I might, I could not do that job in less than 5. And I just took it because it was like swings and roundabouts. And nobody else wanted to do it. So, you know, it's flat rate. Independent shops are slightly different. To a certain extent, we can set our own rates for it, and it's survival of the fittest. If you are quoting 5 or 6 hours to do a 2-hour job, you're not going to be in business for very long because people are going to get wise to it. They're going to be like, why is this mechanic charging me 4 hours for a 2-hour job? That said, a lot of what I charge is a hangover from my dealer days.
Okay.
Getting tires fitted on a bike, it's 1.25 hours, which represents half an hour for the front, 45 minutes for the back. And that's how long it takes.
So
You
when
know?
you're doing custom bikes, is it time and materials then? Like if you,
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I've got a custom Triumph chopper in right now. And what I said to the guy, I said, look, I'm going to quote you heavy. If it takes me less time, I'm going to charge you less. So he's relying on me to be honest. And I want to be honest, not least because he's a nice guy. But I'm an honest person. So that's how I kind of get around that. Is I don't know how long it's going to take. I mean, I'm doing fabrication. I mean, I'm making fender stays, I'm drilling brackets, I'm cutting this, I'm doing this. So I'll quote high.
Mhm.
And just to put a rear fender and a license plate bracket and wire up a taillight, I've quoted him 3 hours, which is heavy. But I said, look, if I do it in 2, I'm only going to charge you 2, and I will. So that's how I get around that. But I think the key is clarity from the moment the bike comes down. The scenario I want to avoid, and I think every other mechanic wants to avoid, is to say, oh, this is only an hour job, and then you get a bill for 10 hours.
Right.
Yep. So
Because there you're not setting expectations, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just make sure the expectations are met. Now, obviously, here in California, we've got it easy for a number of reasons. We've got some great weather. We've already established that. But our bikes don't really rust like they do on the East Coast. When you've seen a bike that's gone through a couple of salty winters, you're seeing a level of corrosion that is wild. Bagel's nodding his head. You've seen these machines.
Oh, yeah.
I know you have too, Liza, because you lived in Boston. And the simplest task can run into hours because
Right.
you're dealing with seized fasteners. You're dealing with broken fasteners. You're dealing with just fucking missing fasteners because they've rusted away.
So
Metal that's rusting away. Yeah, it's like body parts. Yeah.
let me cover
Yeah.
some more of these, Emma. Oh, you got one?
yeah, so
What's that?
I've heard that mechanics love it when you go out and you buy some parts on Temu and bring them into the shop.
Well, you guys want to charge for so much money for the OEM parts.
I mean, why do you want
We can get it so much cheaper on like Amazon
exactly.
or Temu.
So why
right?
is this, this should not be a
that's
problem.
fine, right? If we bring the parts in, you'll install them?
Well, I shall tell you why. So, and this is, because funnily enough, I do have this conversation. Somebody will say, okay, I want to, let me think of an example. I want to put a new left-hand switch cube on my bike because I broke the indicator button off. And I'll say, okay, so I'll look up a Honda one and it'll be like $120. And then I'll say, well, the tank's got to come off, this got to come off. I'm going to charge you about an hour to fit it. So it's $120 for the part. It's $150 for me. Bob's your uncle. And then they'll say, well, hang on, I can get a knockoff switchgear off of Temu for $20. And I'll say, yes, you can. But here's the rub. If you buy that switch from Temu for $20, I'm not going to guarantee it. Number one, because I didn't supply it, and I've got no means of controlling the quality of it. It's a completely unknown quantity for me. If I buy a genuine switch cube, I know it's Honda quality or Kawasaki quality or whatever, and it's going to last within reason the lifetime of the bike. Everything I do, like everything all responsible mechanics do, is guaranteed, and it's completely guaranteed. And generally, everything I do down at the shop is guaranteed for a year. And if somebody comes in with a Temu part and I bolt it on, bear in mind, you're still paying the same hour, $150 for me to bolt it on. It doesn't make sense, because if it breaks in the first week, they come back and they say, well, this part broke. I said, well, okay. What did I tell you? You don't have a guarantee.
You bought a part that's going to last a week.
But it's so much cheaper.
If you want to buy another one,
not always, Bagel.
I'm going to charge you another hour to fit it because it takes an hour to fit. So now you're in week 2 and you have paid me labor twice and the Temu part twice. So you're into week 2 and you've already spent more than if you had on the genuine part.
But what if I'm feeling really lucky?
Roll those dice, baby.
Well, I was going to say, if you really want to roll the dice, but that should be your risk and not mine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
at the end of the day, I'm not here to rip you or anybody else off. Like every other mechanic on the face of the planet, I'm never happier than when my customers ride away on their bike and I see that smile. Mototown is one of the few shops in the world where you don't pay me a penny. I'll say, go and take your bike around the block, tell me how it feels. If you don't feel an improvement, you don't pay. And the guys will go away, and sometimes they're 5 minutes, sometimes they're 30 minutes. I'll come back, and they've all got the same shit-eating grin on their face. They say it's never run better, and they can't pay me quick enough. And people say, hasn't anybody just ridden away without paying you? Never. Maybe I'm being naive. Maybe that's
there's always first. Emma, I got a bike and need some work.
There's a guy with a KTM 690 that's going to come down and try it out.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason for that is because...
Scott's a long-time customer of mine. But, we don't want to rip people off. I mean, being a mechanic, it's a tough gig. But before you get the violins out, I mean, you can make a good living doing this. But importantly, you can make a good living being honest.
Yeah.
And there's simply no need to rip people off to make a decent living.
Right. And customers are not inclined to rip you off because they need your services. They need to come back to you later, Well,
we're getting kind of thin on the ground now. And, I'm sure it's like, okay, well, if I disappear from Emma's shop and I don't pay her, and then the bike breaks down next time, what am I going to do?
Right.
So,
well, Emma,
yeah,
another
there's
one. Another one.
Yes.
I've heard that you shouldn't clean your bike before you take it in because you need to leave all the witness marks. So you'll need to see where all the oil drips are. So we shouldn't clean it.
This is my right. This is my pet peeve. And a lot of people say, well, you're just being vain. You want to work on clean bikes. If you bring me in a dirty bike, especially if I'm getting inside the engine or inside the forks or even inside the wheel bearings, I don't want to introduce that dirt into what was a clean environment. My workshop, like a lot of workshops, is a very, very clean environment, and it's clean for a reason. I've got a big roll-up door. I can't control the dust. But what I can do is all work surfaces are sprayed down with WD-40. I keep breeze going through and blowing out so that I'm not building dirt in an engine. You bring me in a dirty bike, all of that dirt on the outside of your bike, unless I clean it, is going to be inside your bike. So please, if you're bringing your bike in for work, clean it. Make the bike clean. So you don't have to detail it. Just knock the dirt off it.
And on that, you think what do you call not a compressor,
it's a pressure gun.
Sure, yeah.
Water pressure washer.
So you should use a pressure washer, yeah?
Well, you can, but you just got to be careful where you pressure wash it. So I don't recommend pointing a pressure washer at electrical components. I don't recommend pointing a pressure gun exactly at wheel axles where, the seals for the wheel bearings are, because you're driving the dirt in. You're driving the dirt in. So you soon get used to cleaning a bike properly. If you're using a pressure washer, and it's fine to use one, just think about it's under pressure. So when you hit the dirt, you're not necessarily blowing it away, you're pushing it. And if you point it directly at, say, a wheel bearing, you're going to push all that dirt into the wheel bearing. Even though it's got a seal on it, some of these pressure washers work at hundreds of PSI. So you're just going to shove that dirt behind the seal. Right. So, I'm very old-fashioned. You really cannot beat a bucket of hot soapy water and a sponge.
Oh, gosh.
And good old hose pipe. What's wrong with that?
That's how you bathe the bagel. Oh.
He's
especially fond of that. The old sponge you've got the soapy water.
Got to be warm.
Bathing the bagel. Right. Don't forget the baby pepper at the end, right, Bagel?
Just not Johnson's.
Last one, Emma.
Yes.
I believe to help save time and to keep those shop rates down, it is in your best interest when you go to the mechanic to tell them exactly what you want done and nothing more or less.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Come in and
I know these tricks. I know you're going to try and tack on all these extra things. So no, I just want this one thing done.
Yes, absolutely. Be absolutely adamant about what you want done. It's hard because I want to give good value for money. And again, it boils down to the same thing. We want to make sure that the customer's happy. But if you bring your bike down for an oil change and it's got no brake pads, and I mean none, you might want to have a little talk about putting brake pads on. Oh, you're just trying to upsell me. Well, yeah, I know, but
you might want to stop.
Yes. Yeah, you might want to stop. I'd like to share my pet peeve, and it's not really a peeve, but it's just something, and it's a top tip.
Oh, here we go.
This is a tip for anybody who's bringing your bike into a dealership for engine work. Now, Engine work can be a number of things. It can be spark plugs, can be air filter, can be valve clearances, could be an engine build. Please bring it in with an empty tank. Why is this? Well, I shall tell you. If you got a 5-gallon tank on your bike and it's full of fuel, fuck me, it's hard to lift off. It's as simple as that. Fuel is heavy, really heavy and dense. And, I'm getting on now, and a lot of mechanics are getting on and struggling with a full tank of fuel, especially on an adventure bike. And, I still get customers, "Oh, I filled it up for you just for the service." And I'm like, "Oh, fucking hell." And what I have to do now is I pump it out. I will actually pump out the tank
Pump it
before I lift it off the bike. And no, I don't put it on the bill, but it's just an extra step for me, and it puts me in a shitty mood. And I don't want to be in a shitty mood when I'm working on your bike. I want to be in a good mood. I want to be thinking about kittens and flowers and marzipan,
Well-
nice things, right, Bagel?
Oh, yes.
Emma, thanks for clearing all these
Yeah.
things up. I thought I was doing it the right way, but turns out I've just been annoying mechanics all these years.
No shit, Sherlock. Well, actually, mostly.
No, it's okay.
I find the relationship I have always had with my clients is very, very good indeed. And it boils down to a number of things. Respect for one another is a huge thing. Be respectful to your customer, but be respectful to your mechanic as well. As I said, it is not the easiest job in the world. It's a very physical job. I mean, I've got arms like fucking Godzilla. And it's quite a cerebral job as well. You're working with some pretty nasty chemicals. So be nice to your mechanic. And we're getting kind of thin on the ground now. And if you're a professional mechanic and you're listening to this, just be respectful to your customers. There's a lot of talk about grumpy old guys who work on bikes. And that still is kind of true. And I know they kind of got grumpy for a reason, but I've always tried to put myself in the position that, would I like dealing with this person? And if somebody comes in to my shop and they're just starting out on their motorcycling journey and they're a little bit nervous, this is the first time I've ever encountered somebody who's going to work on my bike, who's going to talk to me about my bike, and I'm a fucking grouch. That's not a good start. So I want everybody to have a really good experience with me. And like I say, I think most everybody in the motorcycle industry is the same way. There's a few of the old guard left, the grumpy old fuckers, but hopefully they'll retire soon.
Yeah, and just a point that I want to add is that if you're not sure about a mechanic, just keep in mind that a good mechanic is going to want what's best for you and your vehicle. They want to keep you
Right.
safe. They want to keep your vehicle running well. They want to honor your vehicle, whatever it is. And a bad mechanic is going to want to try to sell you on stuff and upcharge you. So try to understand the difference between the two. Know that somebody's looking out for you. While it might end up costing more, somebody who's actually got safety in mind and making sure that the vehicle is maintained well, that's going to be worth the money that you're paying.
All right. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We all try and look at this long term. I want people to leave the shop on a safe bike, but I want it to stay that way, not just for an hour, not just for a day, basically for months. And a lot of my regulars, I've got them on this program right now. I only see them once a year. And I say, come down and see me in the spring. We're going to do an oil change. We'll do a safety check on your bike. If wear anything out in the meantime, just let me know. But I don't need to see you for a year.
Excellent. Well,
And and that's great.
thank you, Emma. We got some emails to read. Emma, I sent you an email via an email, and I sent you an email to read to your email. If you can cue that up, Bagel, you have one. But while you're doing that, John has 3 quick announcements to make of motorcycle things that have happened this week.
Yeah, there's some news that came down the pike. I don't know. Some of us have been watching what's going on in Utah, and we thought they were moving towards opening up lane splitting like in California, but no, they don't. Effective January 1st, they actually made it more explicitly illegal and more enforceable. So that is not going to happen. However, they do allow filtering, which means if everything's at a stop, you can go to the front. So it's a bummer about that because we love our lane splitting in California.
Bummer.
I want to give a shout out to a racer friend of mine and somebody that we interviewed a couple years ago at Vintage Motorcycle Days. Steve Wise passed this week, and he was a tremendous motocross and superbike racer that really left an impact. He was one of the only guys that crossed over in his time from motocross to superbike, so he's real notable for that. So he was a grand marshal at Perry, and
he wasn't that old. It was heart attack, just went sudden.
Yeah. So Steve, good job. We miss you. And lastly, I don't know if anybody's been watching the Dakar Rally this year. So it's over. Incredible year on the motorcycle side. I don't pay much attention to the cars and the trucks and all that, but Luciano Benavides won, but he beat American Ricky Brabeck by 2 seconds. 2 seconds over the 14-day rally. Pretty amazing. And then we had American winners at 4, Skylar Howes, and at 10, Preston Campbell. So Americans showed up really well. But hey, if you haven't watched the Dakar Rally, you can get it on YouTube and lots of other places. It's really worth watching. Those guys are insane.
Great. Thanks, John. All right. I'm going to read an email here from Jeremy Morse.
Hey, Jeremy.
And he's writing about his fantasy ride. I love this question. He says,
Wait. Jeremy who?
Morse.
Is he writing in code, darling?
Aha! He says, Dear Misfits, I'm writing from frozen old New Hampshire, where the bikes are put away and the barn doors are ice shut. Your podcast is, as ever, a welcome respite from winter doldrums as we hunker down, looking forward to the first thaw. First off, my fantasy ride. Wouldn't it be delightful to ride the rolling hills of Wisconsin on a green June morning alongside Peter Egan?
Yep.
Perhaps on some long-legged old British bike like a Norton. Having read his columns and articles since I was a kid, I've always felt an affinity towards Mr. Egan. I think his rhythm, his demeanor, and his taste in bikes and routes would make for an amazing moto experience. I'm going to agree.
Check out his interview with us if you haven't heard it.
So also, did any of you misfits notice a newly announced pair of 500cc 4-cylinder bikes from Honda this past fall?
I did.
I'd love to hear your thoughts. One is a fully fared sport bike, and one is a crushingly handsome, retro-styled naked bike that is reminiscent of an old CB900F. I'm really excited about this one, although I'm not...
Oh, yeah, the new CB1000.
Yeah, I'm not optimistic that it'll be sold in America. I'm a proud owner of a 1971 Honda CB500/4, which I've told you all about in previous emails. 2 years ago, I bought a Royal Enfield 650 Twin to have just one bike in the stable that is always ready to go. It's been delightful, fun, and so easy to live with, but I miss the playful, revvy nature of the old 4-cylinder Honda. Honestly, the Enfield is quicker than the old Honda, but it feels like it runs out of breath at the top of the red range, where the old Honda doesn't seem to have a top. It's so much fun, and that noise! And that ass. As a lover of retro bikes and 4-cylinders, this new Honda 500 could be a replacement for my Enfield. Around 70 horsepower is just perfect for the back roads in New England. It looks light and nimble, and apart from that stupid fucking iPad place of a proper gauge set, I think they nailed the styling. Look at that exhaust! So there's no mention of U.S. availability, and it seems to be an Asia-only offering. I can't be the only American who yearns for a middleweight 4-cylinder retro bike. What say you, oh wise misfits? Do you like it? Would you buy it over, say, a Z650 RS? Cheers. And he says he's attached photos of the bike in question. So
I would
Yeah.
absolutely buy that bike. I saw it too, and I love the naked one. Naked one's just gorgeous.
I'm just going to say, in general, I'm liking the 400 to 500 range bikes. Like I want one of the Scrambler, the Triumph
Triumphs.
Scrambler 400s.
Those are great bikes.
There's a lot of bikes that are these slightly retro styling bikes. And you have that Moto Morini we saw, which looked really cool. So yeah, this is a good one from Honda. I love a good retro street bike. Yeah, I like it. But you know what? I like the Scrambler 500 that they have based off of the Honda Rebel motor.
I like that too.
So a lot of good offerings, a lot of good choices. But yeah, this does...
Small bikes are on their come up right now, for sure.
Yeah, it looks sweet. All right, John, you have one there?
I do. So this is titled The Greek Guy Living in the Netherlands, so I'm not trying this accent.
Oh, yes, let's go for it, John.
No, I don't think so. That would be a bagel thing. Good day from the white from Snow, Netherlands. Happy New Year to everybody. I am George, the Greek guy living in the Netherlands.
I am George,
the Greek guy living in the Netherlands.
George.
It has been snowing a bit. Sorry, George. For a few days here, maintaining a bit of snow everywhere. Good time for dirt bikes and thick gloves. Last time I wrote you about my dad's extremely rough Harley Davidson Cagiva SX 175 that I'm trying to bring back to life. Thank you to everyone, and especially Miss Emma, for the comments regarding the parts and also that are also used in Harley motorcycles. You helped me a lot. The project is now at the stage where I need to push to actually finish it. I've been cleaning and polishing. It always takes a lot to keep it going. Basically, I need to hear the engine running to give me some passion and remind me that this is a motorcycle somewhere between those rusty parts. While I was waiting for some parts to arrive, I received a very original Suzuki TS185 1975 version that had no compression, destroyed piston rings, and crank seals leaking. Who thought from Suzuki? It's a good idea to have this. Split the cases. Sorry, it's a good idea to split the cases to get the crank seals and to place a CDI next to the exhaust without a shield. You can see a photo of a finished motorcycle attached. Original paint on tank and original plastic. Such a fun and good-looking bike. My daughter calls her Linda the Carrot. After that, a motorcycle fell into my lap. It just followed me home as I heard another one of you say it. Kawasaki KE 125 A8 1981. The Green Lady has seen better days. Ask any rotary disc valve two-stroke that has spent 45 years on this planet. It has a bunch of air leaks. So I'm changing all the O-rings and seals, about 600, I think. I lost count. Also fixing up the tank that has a number of welds on it on the side of the seat. Not a motorcycle you can see every day. Not sure if I want to sell it after it's ready, but I don't have any space to store it. That's my update. May 2026 be a great year for everyone, full of 2-strokes and 4-strokes and nice discussions with friends that are family. Keep riding, and remember that the best tune-up is to ride a 2-stroke like you stole it, at least for 30 minutes. It's a tune-up for you and the motorcycle. Best wishes, George, the Greek guy.
Oh, thanks, George.
That's a lovely email, and George's sentiment is absolutely spot on. It really is.
Well, Emma, did you find the email there?
I did, and this is quite familiar, so please forgive me, because we may have read this one. From Chris Comley. Did we read an email about Chris Comley's topper? No.
No, I don't think so.
Have a while back.
That sounds familiar.
Is this a recent email?
Yes. It came in a few weeks ago.
Oh,
Didn't
okay.
have
Yeah.
Hey, Misfits, I recently had a new bike follow me home. By the way, this is Chris Comley, who we know very well. If you recall, after the scooter cannonball, I mentioned I would likely ride in another scooter cannonball, would like to do it on something completely stupid and inappropriate. Well, it happened a week or so ago. I made a 1961 Harley Davidson topper follow me home. What do you have to say about that, Bagel?
Bagel just has half the topper.
It's not running at the moment. What a surprise.
Shocking.
However, it is mostly, and I'm hoping I can get it running. The biggest issue is the fuel tank is rotted out, but that should be easy to replace. I have a 2-part plan for the topper. First, I will just go through it and get it running on the road with the stock engine running so I can ride it and enjoy it. Then I plan on sourcing a more modern engine, GY6 anyone, that is not a two-stroke for the 2027 Scooter Cannonball. And the idea is carrying 4,000 miles worth of two-stroke oil is not appealing to them. Well, who is it appealing to, I ask? Once done, I'll put it back to stock and do a full restoration on it. I have also found someone with a bunch of parts that I will pick up in a week or two. I heard Bagel also now has a topper. If you need any part, happy to help him out if I can. Have fun all, Chris Comley. Do you need parts, Bagel?
Oh, I might need a few. I imagine it's missing a bit of things here and there. But I've been considering engine swaps too, but there are a couple of limiting factors when it comes to that. First of all, the Harley Topper, when Harley made these, they did not imbue the bikes with frame numbers, only engine numbers. So if you do an engine swap, you lose your vehicle identification number that's on the title. So how do you deal with that? I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure there could be some creative way to figure that out. But the other thing too is that with the Harley Topper frame, it has a central tube that comes down underneath like a backbone under the bottom of the frame and then comes up behind the engine, but in front of the rear wheel. You're going to be hard pressed to find any kind of motor that's going to fit in that space without completely re-engineering the rear of the frame. So to put a GY6 motor in that and make it reversible so you could go back to stock later, I don't know if there's any way to do that. Maybe if there's some way to shoehorn a scooter motor in the same space where the topper motor sits and replace like the rear swing arm, just take the stock swing arm off. Maybe there's enough room to do that. I don't know, but it seems like it would be an awfully difficult fit to me.
And Emma,
right in the shoe. Right. Yes.
He sent a picture. Did you see the picture?
Oh, I saw all the pictures.
Did you see what else is in the? Did you see what else is in the picture?
Oh, let me have a look. Yeah. I saw. I was immediate. I saw a trailer.
Yeah. What's in front of that?
Right. Yes. So I'm coming back to it. Hold on. Here we are. Addition to the fleet. Yes. Here we go. Just give me a second.
What's that in front of the trailer, Emma?
Oh, this is Shadow 1100.
No, Emma.
No.
What is the trailer attached to, Emma?
The trailer. Oh,
there it is.
No, I'm not talking. No. No, I'm not going to say the word. I'm not even going to say the word, Liza. Everybody,
I'll give you a clue. It rhymes with beep.
This podcast tired of your fucking Jeep.
There it is. All right, we got one more, and it's a big one. Bagel, do you have your email?
Yes. I have an email here from Les Moore. Titled, I am the rider mode. Hi, Liza and crew. It is I, Les Moore from Bridlington, UK again. No less, no more.
You know, when his parents were going through names, they tittered at themselves. But that one said, yes, it has to be.
Well,
Tittering going on.
Love the discussion about tech on bikes. It is something I've thought about a lot. My vote is that it has gone too far. Much too far. I think that there are three main issues: riding skill, repairability, and being enslaved to the next new thing. I titled this email, I am the rider mode. I can remember when learning to ride a bike involved getting a feel for the throttle, brakes, clutch, and how the bike felt as you rode it. If you wanted to go slower, you closed the throttle. If you wanted gentle acceleration, you opened the throttle slower. The brakes could always overpower the tires, so you learned to brake gently. You even looked further down the road to prejudge how much braking you might have to do. If you had a wheel spin or slide, you learned to not open the throttle so quickly.
So wait, he's saying don't need ABS if you just look further down the road and predict.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we fell off. We made mistakes. But we learned control and anticipation. My concern with all of these rider aids is that control and anticipation have been handed over to a machine. Accepting these incremental changes will probably lead to the machine doing the steering at some point in the future, even deciding where you can go. The bike I've had for the last year, a 2011 Multistrada 1200S, is the first I've had with any kind of electrical aids. I haven't even had ABS until this one. At first, I gave the settings a lot of attention at Ferkling, a bit like Farkling, but not as expensive. Then I had the thought, why would I want the power muted of an engine, the power muted of an engine with power delivery that I adore by a rider mode that knocked 50 bhp off the top end? And did the computer-decided suspension settings really make the bike feel better? So I put the bike in full power sport mode and tightened up all of the suspension settings, just backing them off to make it feel stable and comfortable. As for the ABS and traction control, remember that anticipation and control I had learned at the start of my riding, I rarely troubled them. I had come to realize I much preferred it when I was the rider mode. I once had the opportunity of driving a pretty modern top-spec Porsche 911 Turbo. It felt really good to be driving such a potent car, but I found that when all of the driver aids were turned off, including putting the auto gearbox into manual, it made the car undrivable on real roads. I found that 600 bhp in a very light car is not any way to enjoy driving, especially if you want a long life. I wondered at the time that if by having so many driver aids, the real skill of driving was being taken away from us. I know there will be arguments made about safety, but we all safety compensate. When something makes us feel safer, we take more risks. I remember somebody saying that if instead of seatbelts, Volvo had come up with a spear from the middle of the steering wheel pointing to the center of your chest, that more lives would have been saved. As for repairability and reliability, most breakdowns with modern vehicles are rarely anything fundamental, like a blown engine or wheel bearing off, or a blown engine or a wheel falling off. They are always some sensor failure or a software glitch. There's a lot of truth in the thought that the top-spec adventure bikes are not really the type of bike to go on an adventure with. A simple old-school bike, which is easy to repair, is far more likely to get you to your destination, especially if it involves rough roads in third-world countries. I do admit that some of the rider aids, such as ABS, are an advantage, but remember it wasn't long before a lot of countries made it a requirement for new vehicles by law. When will the laws insisting on adaptive cruise control and lane assist start? It won't be long. A friend of mine recently rejected a new car, mainly because it took too long turning off all the mithering safety features and messages before he could drive off in it. I do worry that bikes and cars are going the way of other consumer goods like cameras and phones. Lots of new gizmos and gadgets that don't really enhance the user experience, but do give the marketing people something to crow about and encourage future sales because of the built-in obsolescence and cost of repairs. As each new generation comes out, it is more expensive, more complicated, and signals the death knell of any kind of support with technical advice or spare parts for anything before. I am currently vetting my 76 Triumph project bike. It was built with 1930s technology, and I often have to get a bigger hammer. Will the bikes in showrooms today have somebody in 50 years doing a similar thing? Maybe it will be a smaller soldering iron they need. Full disclosure, I am currently shopping for a more advanced diagnostic electrical testing tool, maybe even with an oscilloscope. No, not for the Triumph, but for the relatively modern car we own, which has developed electrical gremlins.
It needs a bell.
Anyway, enough of my whinging. It is still dark and dismal here in the UK, but there is the feeling that lighter days are not too far ahead. Must get that project bike finished before the sun breaks through, like I keep promising our Spanner Rash subscribers on YouTube. Take care, Les.
Aw. Well, Les, if you feel like
Les.
if you feel like coming out to the Ace Cafe next weekend, come see me. I'll be there on Saturday.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then I'm going to go visit the Isle of Man. Going to go talk to the TT people about our involvement. So, yeah, I'm coming over to the old dreary motherland. Emma, you're jealous, aren't you?
Dismal.
I am very jelly. I wish I was coming with you.
Well, I think that wraps it up. It's nice to kind of get back in the studio.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've been together. But again, next week, we'll be gone again. But I'll be back the week after that. So, Bagel, no live podcast next week. But I'm going to release another one of our retro episodes. I've been having a lot of fun going back and finding some of my favorite interviews that people may not have heard and re-editing them and improving the sound. And, cleaning it up, making it better. So letting people hear some of our favorites. On that note, I got no T-shirts to sell yet. Still working on the design.
Waiting for that new one.
Waiting for the new one. But you can still go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com, find links to anything you need there. I've updated kind of our calendar where we're going to be. And, Bagel, are you going to come to one show?
I need to see if I can make it. Let me see if I have that on my calendar.
Well, we'll talk about that. I'm still working that out.
I would like to go if I can.
But mostly send us your email. Emma, what do we want people to tell us this week?
I'm always interested. What are you going to be riding in the springtime? I want to hear from people who are snowbound right now. Tell me about what you want to be riding in the spring. Maybe in your garage right now needing work. You may be saving for it. Maybe your dream bike. Don't care. I want to know about it.
Okay. And you can send that to motorcyclesandmisfits@gmail.com. It's as easy as that. Well, let's wrap up. Oh, we're just getting out just in time. Big thanks to our listeners. Another year we've got under our belt. 2012. This is like 14 years
Crazy.
we've been doing this. I know. So crazy. But we couldn't have been doing it without all of y'all. So thank you for your support on Patreon. You guys are great. Keep the emails coming. Let us know what you're up to and what bike you want to ride. And I think that's it.
Yep.
But especially thanks to the Misfits. You guys keep me coming back every week. So let's time to get out of here.
Right.
Thanks, everyone. This is Liza.
Stumpy John.
Bagel.
Emma, darling!
There we go.
And we are out of here.
Cool.
Cool.
Oh!